All right, guys, welcome back to the Side Dish Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Shin, joined as always by my co-host, Jay Lee.
Hey.
My former co-host, Celine Jung.
Hi.
And our special guest, Andy Trust, is in the house.
What's up, guys?
Trust.
So, off the bat, Andy, I just want to know, where does the last name Trust come from? Because I assume it's not your real last name.
And everyone just refers to you as Andy Trust, by the way, yeah.
Well, my actual last name is Ko,
Oh, okay.
which
I didn't know that.
it is not like, it's not one of the big three. It's not the
True.
Kim, Lee, or Park. So like anytime I meet another Ko, it's always like a point of conversation. But Trust, the short story is that I just thought it sounded nice as an Instagram handle. But the slightly longer story is, well, like, you know, when we grow up as kids, like we all learn about like the general like personal virtues, personal values of like love, patience,
Grace,
empathy,
whatever.
you know, all these
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've always, even as a kid, I always found like trust to be such a fascinating it's kind of stood out to me amongst these because it's one of those things that can take a really long time to build. You know, it could take a
Absolutely.
lifetime to build.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it can also
100%.
just completely crumble within like a
Yeah, it only takes
moment,
one mistake
right?
to
Yes.
breach. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Like, so much of my personal decision making really comes down to like, do I or do I not trust this person? Do I or do I not trust this thing? And a lot of it just kind of comes from a gut feeling, or yeah, I don't know. It's just
It's a
it's a
vibe,
personal reminder,
yeah.
and I think it's just like a value that's like.
Well,
come up a lot
speaking
in
of
my
how
life.
it takes like a lifetime to build that, you and Celine have known each other for a pretty long time, actually.
Great segue.
You went to school. You went to school with Celine in Korea back in the day.
Yeah,
So you're kind of, you went to international school with a few people that we know. A few of the listeners of this
Yeah.
podcast will know who you are.
Yeah.
And so I want to know. I want to throw it to Celine. Like, how has Andy changed since like you knew him when he was a little pipsqueak?
Well, it's crazy because Andy only went to our school for like
2 years,
2 years.
What grades?
This was literally like
third to fifth grade.
third to fifth grade.
Okay, so-
yeah.
yeah,
So
a
we
long time
were,
ago.
and also I don't remember how we got back in touch, which is kind of crazy because who gets back in touch with someone you knew
Yeah.
in third grade
Yeah.
for 2 years? You know what I mean?
I can speak on how we got back in touch.
Okay.
Yeah, but go.
But I was just gonna say, all I remember about Andy was he was just so funny and like just a typical third grade boy. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
But I
Kinda-
remember he always like made me laugh. Like
Okay.
we would laugh a lot.
Well, you were a goofy
And-
kid.
You know, it's weird because like especially like during my time living in New York, like just as an adult, like I never saw myself as like a silly, goofy kind of person. But like 5-6 years ago, I started going to therapy for the first time, and I started talking to my sister a lot about just my childhood. And she made the same comment. She was like, "When you were young, you were like a really silly, goofy
Interesting.
child," and I feel like I kind of like forgot that about myself. So even hearing that from you is kind of interesting.
Wow, well, how
But-
refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's truly what I remember you as.
I will say, so I grew up, born and raised in Illinois,
Yeah.
and I can like talk at length about my like experience as a Korean American, but it was a really bizarre personal experience going from like public school in Illinois
To private school in Seoul.
to going
yeah.
to like the
An international
top
school, yeah.
school in Korea for 2 years, and then going back.
Yeah.
That's the part that kind of like fucked my brain up a little bit because I think I like listened to this on NPR. There's like this old like podcast episode. I think it was like a This American Life episode that talked about like the New York City public school system and how someone had this like bright idea of busing schools or kids from different schools to other
Yeah.
schools to kind of like expose them to different like parts of New York City, different types of schools. And what ended up happening is like you have kids from like the inner city who are from underfunded schools who spend like the week or spend the day at this really nice school and vice versa. And the experience for these kids who came from like the really nice schools is that they went to these underfunded schools. They kind of saw how, poorly, managed and like just how the state of the school is. And they go back and they feel this intense sense of like gratitude.
Oh,
They-
I was gonna say like, I bet they don't feel gratitude.
Well, they
'cause they're
feel really
kids.
grateful because like they go to this really nice school and they see how bad things
Yeah.
can get.
Right.
The inverse is that you have these kids who come from really rough schools and then they're exposed to like what could be, and then they have to go back.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
does this like insane psychic damage to
And
like
that's what
your
happened
I can only
with you with
imagine.
going to SFS.
That's how I felt as a kid. Is like, damn, I go to this like boring ass public school in America, and then the next day, I'm like at the United Nations. I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah, totally.
kids from all across the world. We have like a Olympic-sized swimming pool, an
Yeah.
I mean,
Olympic-sized
SFS is a beautiful campus.
incredible school.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know, how old are you when you're in 5th grade? Like 10 years old.
Yeah.
11 years
Yeah.
old.
Something like that.
I go back to Illinois and I'm trying to like explain to these kids who are my classmates who haven't seen me in 2 years, which at that
They're like,
at
yeah,
that
right.
age, 2 years is a super long
It
time.
is,
totally.
yeah.
And you're trying, like, I'm trying to explain to them, like, yo, like I just came from Korea, and they don't even know what Korea is.
No, exactly.
It's the
back
land
then.
of my birth.
Yeah,
And it
they're
was
like,
just, like,
what, China?
Very, very, very trippy experience trying to like reconcile that in my brain. But yeah,
Yeah,
anyway, so
yeah.
like I think pretty much starting from then, going straight into junior high school, like whenever Zanga, whenever Facebook, like
good
junior high school,
times.
high school as like social media became a thing,
Yeah.
I was constantly trying to like find a way to reconnect with people back from SFS.
Oh, interesting.
So I remember
Okay.
one of the first things I did when I got a Facebook was like open my SFS yearbook and look for people
sure.
from SFS.
We connected on Facebook. I remember. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
then Facebook
Okay.
becomes Instagram Friends, it becomes, I don't know, 2017 or 18, however many years later, I'm like, oh shit, all these kids from SFS are randomly in New York now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I should like reach out to them.
Totally.
But that's how this like 15 plus year reunion.
But so then
happened.
that means that you must have had a pretty positive time living in Korea going to SFS then,
Yeah, I would say
right?
so. Yeah.
Because like I can totally relate to that. When I moved from my elementary school to like I moved to Palo Alto very suddenly after my whole life in elementary school in Alameda, moved to Palo Alto for middle school. And I remember just like having these really strong nostalgic feelings of
Yeah.
like the friend group I had, like the girls I had crushes on, like a lot of these, you know, when you're like a teenager, these are the most
Yeah.
profound feelings you can feel. And so I remember when Facebook came out senior year of high school, I connected with all these homies from elementary school. And I actually went back to my old, you know, what would have been my high school to visit them and kind of seeing like I could have been a senior at this high school instead of at Gunn, you know what I mean? And it was a kind of a deep
Also,
feeling.
The big like part that I didn't even mention was I was there from 2000 to 2002. I was in Korea for the World Cup.
Wow.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like the impression that left on me was
sure.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm like in the coolest place in the world.
Right.
And you're
'cause
surrounded
that
by your
was
people.
A time.
Yeah, I mean, like
that
with
was
my
a time.
people, like, and now
Yeah.
I have to go back to like the cornfields of the Midwest, and it was just like such a drastic,
Damn.
you know, change.
Well, you know the thing that people always say that to this day, like even friends and family in their 30s that come back to Seoul, even for like a vacation for 2 weeks, it's like the thing I feel like I hear repeated a lot is like, I will never get over what it feels like to be in a country where it's homogenous with your people, where everyone is your ethnicity.
Yeah.
And honestly, that I think as you grow older, it becomes more important too. And it makes sense why people come back
Yeah.
or why people want.
I had that
You
that
know?
exact feeling when I moved here. I know Jay
Yeah.
did. We bonded over that.
Yeah.
You must be going through that right now too.
Man,
Because it's like, do you miss the diversity of New York, right? Because I, like, in theory and in practice, love diversity. Like, I love that about New York. But at the same time, the diversity contributes to a lot of
Conflict.
conflict and shittiness.
Yeah.
okay, so I will say, despite, and I'll get into like my New York experience and stuff later, but like, despite every reason I like left New York, for every reason I came to Korea, I still feel this intense like love, appreciation for New York City. And I do feel this kind of like New York supremacy. I do feel like it's like the best city in the world.
That's so funny because
do
I
feel
could
that way.
literally fight you on that.
Oh no, I truly love New York City, but coming back to Korea has been very uncanny. Is like the word I always come back to, and I feel like every conversation I ever have, if it goes long enough, I end up talking about the uncanny valley, which is like one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
frameworks
I
of
remember
thinking,
having
which,
a comment with you about that.
which again I could go into length about that, but In preparation for this podcast, I try to come up with a few like different anecdotes and things I could talk about. I don't know if this is actually his quote, but it's often attributed to Einstein. But he says something to the effect of, if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, you will spend your whole life thinking that it's stupid. Which I think in and of itself is a great adage.
Like a framework
for
to
like,
think about.
like your personal biases and context and whatnot. But imagine you're a fish that out of sheer willpower, out of sheer necessity, out of sheer need to survive, like survival, learn to climb a tree and learn to breathe air. And just,
I mean, they did,
despite,
right?
We are
That's why we're sitting here.
We're all fishes who learn how to climb trees.
shout out evolution. But like, I feel like in a lot of ways that is, I mean, it's an extreme illustration, but to me, that's what it feels like to be like a person of color or an immigrant in America.
In the U.S.,
Right,
interesting,
you're like trying to survive and live in this place that's not made for you, right? But you can't, I mean, you don't really have the option to just like roll over and die. So out of just sheer necessity, like you learn how to climb a tree, you learn how to breathe the air, and over time you get pretty good at it, right? It's the same way that I like learned how to adapt to live in America. And eventually like you get good enough at it that like you start to question your identity because the people next to you are like monkeys. They're climbing trees and you're the one fish. And you just say, hey, maybe like what would it be like to go back into the water? You go back into the water after decades of not being in the water and you realize, I like forgot how to swim.
Yeah, totally. You're a monkey.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, and you go back in the water and they're like, who let this monkey in the water?
Yeah. So like, that's for me, like coming after all of these years, after like romanticizing this idea of like, man, if I were to go back to Korea, I'll be with my people. I'll feel like at one, like everyone will look like me. It's like, they do look like me, but I can hardly communicate with them.
Yeah.
There's, like,
Yeah,
all
that's the
these
weird
just,
thing about
like,
being Kyopo,
that's the
right?
struggle.
It's like
It's forever the struggle.
Yeah, you come here and realize, oh, there are so many tensions that exist even here in a place where everyone is like you or you come from the same culture.
I guess you could say that we're
Like-
forever othered. We're basically the most oppressed people.
But it is,
It is, yeah.
like are you guys all familiar with the concept of the uncanny valley?
I mean, to refresh for our listeners, I believe it's like an AI-based thing.
So I learned it initially under the context of like 3D animation.
Right. Like the Polar Express is famously used as an example.
So like this, I'm holding up a shot glass for the podcast listeners. This is an inanimate object, right? How you feel about this in terms of like your personal human empathy and your affinity towards this is probably zero. It's just an inanimate object. But if I were to draw like googly eyes on it and give it like a pair of little hands and like shoes, all of a sudden it becomes cute.
Right.
And so the idea is that the more and more something increases in its likeness towards you or like yourself, the more and more you're likely to feel a positive affinity towards it. More you're likely to empathize with it. So you start at zero with like a completely inanimate object, and it goes up and up and up and up. So like maybe like 40% is like an anime character. Does it look like you? It's not. It's a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a cartoon of a human.
It's a purely representational depiction of a person, but it looks cute, right? Maybe you go to like 60% and like it's like kind of good CGI, whatever. But once you get into like 85%, that's like the Polar Express. It kind
Like
of
Tom
looks,
Hanks in the Polar Express,
or like a really shitty wax sculpture.
Yes, yeah.
It looks human.
Yeah.
But it's something about it is just off enough for it not to be not perfect. It repulses you. So you have like this almost linear line of like as it becomes more and more like you, it's more and more positive, and then like at 85%,
It, like, just drops off.
drops all the way to the bottom. And in order to get back into like the positive affinity, you have to essentially get back to 100%. So there's like this weird dip. And so I think as a Korean American, like especially now living in Korea right now, I feel like I'm in the deepest part of the uncanny valley.
Oh.
Because if I was just different enough, like if I came to Korea as a non-Korean person, if I was white.
Yeah. Oh, I
Then
see where
I'm
you're
on the
going.
other side of that valley. I'm
Right.
I'm at 75. It's great.
Right.
I'm still actually really. I'm not
Yeah.
experiencing life.
You're
as
just
a
held to a higher
Korean
standard
Korean.
because you look like them.
Yes.
So
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you should talk like them.
Exactly.
You're right,
so like,
right.
If
Yeah.
I'm different enough, I can actually experience a really positive experience here. If I'm perfectly like them, I
Yeah.
can also experience
Yeah.
a positive experience. But because I'm almost there, but not quite, I'm at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just like a weird feeling. So it's like
You might as well be a shot glass with googly eyes.
exactly. You know, I might literally be. It might as well be.
His name's Shoddy. He's a Pixar character.
So it's a bizarre experience. It's something that I've
That
been,
is an
trying
interesting
to
analogy to get
wrap my mind around. but
right to kind of get inside your mind and how you're experiencing being here.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good analogy.
But what do you think of like the Kyopo culture here? Because here we are sitting at a table with a bunch
Right.
of Kyopos.
Yeah.
We lived here for many years, and
You've met many of them since
yeah.
coming here.
Yeah.
so we were like the mutant class that you like stumbled upon.
It's fascinating because, like, I mean, everything lives on a spectrum, right? So, like, I mean, this is something I've been like kind of working through my brain. It's not fully formed, so please feel free to contribute to this working hypothesis. But like, when I think about the spectrum of like Korean identity, you have on one far side is a Korean person born and raised in Korea, maybe never left this country, has intense like feelings of nationalism, super pro-Korean. Is just like the most exaggerated pro-Korean person,
Nationalist
right?
Gonde.
Yeah, nationalist conde.
So you got that on one side, right? The other side, let's take it a super extreme example, is like a Korean person who's ethnically Korean, or maybe they're half Korean. They have Korean identity, but they were adopted to a completely foreign country, raised with zero context for any Korean culture, doesn't speak any Korean, has never tried Korean food. Biologically, they have Korean heritage, but like culturally, they're the furthest thing from like a Korean person, right? All along this like spectrum are like different versions, different shades of Korean people. So like you have like the Korean kid who was born and raised in Korea, but then went to America for a 4-year university. That
Yeah.
person like lives
Yuck.
somewhere on this spectrum. They're not the Korean person who is all the way on this side, but they have enough of like an American experience to like, for some Koreans, to be a kyopo. Like I know
I
Korean.
mean, that's
people who-
basically my wife.
so there's that
Yeah.
example, right? On the other hand, like I know a lot of kids who came like in middle school to America and kind of like live life in America. You have
Fobs.
exactly no, and this is the thing is like growing up in the Midwest, like it was brutal. Like as a middle schooler, it was like
can
you're
only
a fucking
imagine.
Twinkie,
Yeah.
or you're a fob.
Oh, yeah,
And we
100%.
did
No
not
in
fuck with each other. We
for sure.
hated each other.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
I have guilt to this day about how shitty I was to Fobs.
Oh, but also, dude, they were
bully.
They were
bullies to
fucking-
me too. Like they were
Dude,
like,
fobs
you
were
fucking
so whack.
Twinkie, like you can't even
Fobs
speak
were
Korean.
whack.
Dude, fobs are so whack because they would, dude, they would roast me for my Korean.
I didn't say that.
I'm like, I'm not good at math. Like all these like stereotypes that we'd associate with being Asian. Like the fobs obviously like fit it to a T. And like we talk about this on podcast. I would not want to be caught dead in the same social circle
100.
as a fucking
Yeah.
fob. No way.
It was fascinating because like even when I went to college, like I think around that time I like felt this like feeling of wanting to reconnect with my Korean identity and blah blah blah. And on my school campus, we had 2 Korean student organizations. We had KSA, Korean Student Association.
You went to WashU, right?
WashU. Yep.
That's very a lot of Koreans go to that school.
I
as far as
didn't like
understand.
actually I didn't even know much about Washington until I actually like went there but yeah, there was more Koreans than I thought there would be. But there was the KSA, and then there was KISS, which is the Korean International Student Society.
Oh, I've never heard of a kiss.
Now KISS was virtually 100% Korean international students.
Okay.
Yeah.
KSA
Okay.
was I was one of 2 Koreans in KSA.
Oh, interesting.
KSA was virtually all non-Korean people who were
interesting.
obsessed with
You
Korean
mean like
culture.
Chinese
Yeah, the
Americans?
Korea Boo
or,
Society.
We
like,
had Korea, like Chinese folks. We had
Oh,
Black
that's
American, white
interesting.
Americans. It was a huge,
I
super mixed crowd.
did not
Yeah.
know that.
So
okay.
I tried desperate because there actually weren't that many Korean Americans, at least that I knew of on campus.
okay.
Most of the Koreans were like international
International.
students. So
yeah.
Rich kids, gotcha.
I remember
gotcha.
going there and trying like desperately to connect with these like KISS kids. They did not fuck with me. You
Yeah.
know? So
They're
it
like,
was
what does your dad do? What
No,
car does he drive?
Oh God.
like these were the kids who like freshman year when you're not even allowed to have a car, they like
They
all
have
have
cars,
BMWs
yeah.
like
No,
off
that,
campus.
that's actually
Yeah.
the stereotype at WashU of international kids is like they drive Lambos and
Oh,
shit. It's
they-
like insane. Yeah.
I saw it. Yeah, it was like
That's
with my
crazy.
very eye. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So like there was definitely a bit of like a chip on my shoulder of like, man, I'm trying to connect. They're not really receiving me.
yeah.
I mean, this whole like, what is Korean? What is American? What is Korean American? Like, one of the ways that like the lenses in which I like to think about this is like branding, like clothing branding, which I actually talked about this random like in a TikTok video. But like the first time I came to Korea, like end of 2021. Well, at least like the first time, like most recently that I came to Korea, I remember walking around and seeing everyone wearing National Geographic jackets.
Or
Yeah.
Jeep.
Yeah. Or Jeep.
So like,
Kodak.
so now it's
Discovery.
Like,
Yeah.
Discovery, Nat Geo, Jeep, Discovery Channel or Expedition.
They have
Kodak.
BBC now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's
Yeah.
super
just
busy.
like-
So for me as an American, right, I'm seeing this and I'm thinking like, okay, in any other context, if you were to walk around in a Nat Geo jacket, that means you work at Nat Geo. This is no different than like.
Why would you rep it?
It's like a Facebook T-shirt, right?
Right.
It means you work there.
Exactly.
Right.
Whereas in Korea, it's just an American brand. It might as well
Yeah.
be Polo. It might as well be anything else. It's just an American logo. I actually did a little bit of like looking into the story of the Nat Geo brand here. And to my understanding, the company was originally like an outdoor wear clothing brand in Korea that went by its own Korean branding that was about to file bankruptcy because they
Okay.
were not doing well. And right before they closed for bankruptcy, they filed their moonshot last attempt was to buy the license for Nat
license,
Geo
yeah.
and take all of their existing inventory and rebrand it.
God, and it was super
And it worked.
successful.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It worked. But so to me, I'm like, what is it about this that is resonating with Koreans? To me, my understanding is that it's an American brand. Is it because it's an American brand? Is it because they want to emulate the behavior of what they think how Americans dress? Because
Or is it like, do they know anything about Nat Geo? What's their knowledge of Nat Geo?
Exactly, like,
And
It's
yeah.
definitely not that.
You think?
I don't
like
know.
that it's an outdoor,
'cause
like
I'm not
nature.
convinced that Korean people know what Discovery Channel is.
Yeah.
Or like grew up
Yeah.
watching it or
I-
have like
yeah.
a basis for that. At the
Actually, yeah, you're right. The average Korean person who would wear a Nat Geo jacket, I agree. They probably
Yeah.
don't know.
To me, I think when I see Nat Geo in Korea, it's closer to Arc'teryx or Stone Island or like
Right.
it's just a brand and like someone could sit here and like nerd out about like the history of Stone Island and really like most people that wear it they don't care. It's just
Yeah,
it's just an
It's a
outdoor
brand.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a brand. The
Yeah,
same way that Nat Geo
totally.
is just a brand to Koreans.
Totally.
Whereas if you wore this in New York City, it's a completely different effect. But if I were to try to talk to a Korean person and explain to them like, do you like this branding because it's just like in English? Or is it because you think that this is how Americans dress? Like, where is this getting lost in translation?
Yeah.
Like how
I think that it's 100% a status symbol. That's how Koreans shop, basically.
Yeah, that is how Koreans shop.
I think it's 100%
but
that.
to me, it's like, okay, we can walk down Itaewon right now, and there will be like a hat that says Seoul,
Right.
or like 외국인.
Yeah.
No Korean's gonna be caught dead wearing that,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
Right.
right? Hell no, right? But you're gonna have Korea boos from all over the world buying that and wearing it back home. To me, like that is like the Western equivalent of like it's just like you're taking a Korean character and just in the foreignness of wherever you're coming from, it means something.
Yeah, well,
right?
you know,
to like wear
there's-
kanji on your T-shirt in America means like it's foreign.
Sure,
it's different.
sure.
There's
I mean,
something
it's
about-
just it comes down to like a trend. Like for example, do you remember in college when the trend was like it would be like listen to Bob Marley? Those shirts that just said like listen to and like, insert band name here. Like that's not something that would resonate with Koreans necessarily. It's just a branding zeitgeist thing.
Yeah.
And I think for the Nat Geo example, we were at the mall the other day. We saw Kodak. Kodak is
Yeah.
selling jackets
I
now.
have a Kodak bag.
It's just so. I mean, like, and you know what though? It looks cool. It looks like decent material. Like CNN is branding itself. Oh my God,
CNN. I've seen
Yeah.
CNN. Wait, yeah,
So
that
like,
triggered
and I
memory.
get it. I mean, maybe because I've lived here for like 12 years, I get it now. Because when I first got here, I was like, come on, what the fuck is this?
Okay, maybe the more like apt comparison is like, imagine if the next hot like women's wear brand, like instead of Brandy Melville, the next big brand in America was Olive Young clothing.
That'd be funny.
Like Koreans, like a Korean person would not wear a hoodie that said Olive Young because that would mean that you just work at Olive Young.
Right. I mean, it's
In
kind of
America-
how we've seen like little, like remember when Panera Bread released the baguette bag?
yes, I do.
I
remember
Yeah,
that.
it was like
yeah.
a cute bag, like
Yeah.
a shoulder bag that was
But
green
that,
with like
that's sold in America, or
it's sold in America. Yeah. So like we see
Okay,
things
but-
like this
Yeah.
here and there, right?
Yeah.
Or like New Yorker
that
totes.
bag sold out.
Like, you know, but here's the thing: like the New Yorker tote, the Panera bag, even like the Taco Bell or like the McDonald's.
Like
But it
the
could
Trader
be an-
Joe's bag is really, really popular.
It's like
Right,
sold,
right,
sold out now.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like
Exactly.
wait, where?
In the
in America,
States.
In the US.
America,
yeah.
and it's really popular all around the world.
But okay,
Yeah.
so
But
to
I think
me,
it's different.
Like, see, in America, like if I carry an Erewhon tote, it signals something to
Yeah.
Americans because it's a social signal. You guys know what this means. It means
Yeah.
like I'm a
Well,
rich
so-
dude who spends $16 on a
Right.
smoothie.
So I think it is actually similar in Korea where like the average Korean who wants to buy a Nat Geo jacket, they're buying that because it says Nat Geo on it, because it says something about, I don't know, quality, price, whatever. Everyone else is
Or like
wearing
you're just
it.
up to date with the trend.
My
yeah,
take on this
because
is like
it's like how North Face popped off like 10
God,
years ago
yeah.
here, right?
It was so
like
huge.
in a major way.
Major.
It changed everything.
Yeah. You were
And-
like bullied at school if you did not have a North Face
Yeah.
Oh,
jacket.
there were
It was
kids
crazy.
like literally being bullied
you.
to the point of suicide.
That's
Jesus.
crazy.
Oh, when they came to school not wearing a North Face jacket.
Yeah. The thing is with North Face, like it was popular at a time in America as well. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a reputable
No,
brand.
totally.
Whereas
but
I
it's
a
feel
also
comeback
like in
right
the
now.
North Face, in the US, the North Face has been around for decades,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
okay,
Decades and
like
decades.
the Erewhon parallel to me would be like carrying a tote in Korea that said like Soroasu. Like,
Yeah,
right? Like a
yeah.
super
Like a
expensive
expensive
Korean brand.
yeah.
It's like, or you're carrying a Gentle Monster like tote bag. or
Tote
something,
bag,
right?
yeah.
The reason why there's something kind of bizarre to me about like the American branding here is that it came to Korea without any like established context for what this
Yeah,
meant.
and it has its
was-
own life here that it doesn't
So it'd
have
be
in
like
the
in
States,
America
yeah.
if randomly like it just became a trend for everyone to be wearing like GS25 hats.
I mean,
Right.
Like it could
low key, that sounds like a brilliant
it
idea.
could.
and like if
that sounds like a brilliant
someone
idea.
could probably go right now, brand a bunch of like take a bunch of Korean licenses, release it as streetwear in America, and to the right Korean content consuming audience,
Yeah.
it would hit.
Dude, people
I
have
think
done-
it
to
would.
most
I can
Americans
see
though,
it,
they
yeah.
would have no idea what the fuck that is. They're like,
No.
what is GS25?
Well, I mean, we know someone that branded Picari sweat in that way
Yeah.
and made Picari sweatshirt hoodies and like
Yeah.
low key. When I saw that, I was like, I kind of fuck with that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'll rep
But
Picari sweat.
see, like, and then it's like when I get the Kodak bag here in Korea, I tell myself, I'm like, I'm consuming this product differently than all these other Koreans because I kind of get the irony of it all. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just consuming
Right.
a product.
No, that's the
right,
thing.
yeah.
It's like I think in America, a lot of people like to wear things ironically.
Yeah.
Like maybe the Panera bag even could be an example of irony, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're a person on the street wearing this thing.
Yeah.
How does anyone know whether you're wearing it
Ironically
ironically
or not,
or
yeah.
because
Yeah.
you are
and
like a
it's
basic
100%
person who-
based on like if you're hot or not.
No, it's based on your style, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
your
yeah.
overall style. People like get a look at who you are, like
Yeah.
if you're hot or not, whatever. But it's also like I think Korea is just such a I think Korea is more capitalist than the United States.
This is something
Like
my,
it really, I think it is.
Yeah.
And the way that these brands kind of like come and go here like that, it's just a testament to the power of brand and name in terms of Koreans' shopping habits.
Yeah.
Like it's really all about brand.
I think there's an over glorification of like the Western world. Like I feel like
Which
these
is
brands
so
are popular
interesting.
because it's like, oh, it's American, right?
Yeah, but you would have thought we outgrew that, right? Because for
Yeah.
a minute I thought,
No.
oh, Korea's kind of moving past this.
Yeah.
but it's kind of coming back.
But I see a parallel with this in K-pop now. I feel like 90% of songs are in English. It actually really
Yes.
bothers me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish I could like actually cite the exact news about this, but I read something along the lines of how in China there's like strict like local regulations on how much signage, like if you have a storefront in China, how much of the signage can be in English. So it has to be
That's cool.
basically like majority in Mandarin Chinese, and you can have like subheadings in English, but there's a specific regulation that dictates how much English you can have
That's cool. Yeah.
publicly. You walk down Itaewon, you walk down Hongdae, you
Yeah.
walk down Gangnam, it's damn near all English.
Yeah.
Or like it'll be like Korean characters but in an English word. Like
A loan word. Yeah.
yeah, so a loan word exactly. So recently I went to an SG Wannabe concert like last
Oh,
weekend.
yeah, I saw that on your story. Yeah.
First of all, just fucking amazing. But the concert was 2 hours long. Out of the 2 hour long concert, there was one song where one song where they had like 3 lines that were in English.
Okay, so it was a very Korean
Hell
concert.
It's completely Korean, but they're like this is their 20th anniversary.
But it's SG
show,
Wannabe.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They've been around.
To your point, you look at a lot of Korean music now, and it's like half the lyrics are in English, and half of it is like gibberish English. It is
For sure.
it is purely like an attempt to socially signal that we are this like worldly pander to.
Actually,
Or
I don't
just to
think
reach
it's
new
that. I think it's
demographics.
purely for money.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
They purely just need the Western market.
But that's what I mean. Like they're pandering to like the
K-pop
Western
is-
audience. Like
Yeah.
they're-
Yeah, that's what it
like,
is.
It's a business. It's a
It's a
business.
business.
We've
That's all
mastered
that it is.
capitalism.
Yeah, exactly.
we've
I don't
mastered-
think there's any deep meaning in terms of like we want to signal our like that we're cooler with it. I think it's literally purely just we need American people to listen to this and sing along.
But I feel like
And-
now Korea has so much clout that it can just go back to like being in Korean, and then people will be like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Like I'll like learn the
But-
lyrics. In
I feel like
Korean.
I think we've surpassed that moment. I think that we had a few good years where like people were like, I want to learn Korean, and people still do. Like,
Yeah.
don't get it twisted. Like, people still hella want to learn Korean. But if we're talking about why K-pop has more English lyrics, I think I agree with like Celine. It's purely like, okay, we got the interest. Let's
Yeah.
speak to that market. Let's get more market share.
Yeah.
I mean,
basically,
a lot of
we'll be singing in fucking
a
Spanish
lot
soon,
of
dude.
like production is outsourced to America or like Europe, so I guess it makes sense that
Yeah.
you know it's like
I mean, they're not even Korean producers. Yeah,
Exactly.
And also, K-pop wouldn't be K-pop if it wasn't consumed overseas. Like it just
it
would
would just
not
be pop.
Yeah, it would just be Korean music that like it needs the Western market to thrive the way that it is.
It's an interesting.
I'll
take.
say I don't know if this is again coming from a very American K-pop perspective, but my like even growing up, the characterization that I like had of Korea was that Korea is a very like pull yourself up by the bootstraps country that came from poverty, and within one person's lifetime it got to where it is today. And it got there because it was super pragmatic. And one of the things that Korea was really, really good at doing was to take existing things and quote unquote making it better. So you take Japanese technologies, things that Sony was doing for decades, and then all of a sudden Samsung and LG comes in and like blows the market up with it, right? Korea just took shit that already existed and refined it to quote unquote perfection. You see this like in music and art and in every single like form of culture. The thing is like with that framework, it's implying that you have to like work off of a separate source material that's not Korean. Korean people are taking something
Yeah.
else and making it quote unquote better. And if that was a practice that was built out of necessity because they needed to grow their economy, if that was the strategy, and I'm speaking about Korea as like this like monolithic person, if that was the strategy, well then in some ways like they've succeeded, right? Korea is a very economically successful country. At what point do you start to look inward and say,
Right. We're not known for innovation.
instead of
We're not
taking
innovators,
like
yeah.
American pop and doing it better,
Yeah.
taking American fashion and doing it better. Because in so many ways, like Korean culture has established itself as the leading force in fashion, food, music, like globally, right? Now that you're at the top, what's next? And to me, like to your point, it's like it seems like the only place you can go at that point is to look inwards. But when your entire identity is like
validated by external
forces, then it's like it almost
also specifically
takes,
Western forces.
it's almost like Korea is a kyopo looking for validation.
No, and you know what's crazy is like in so many ways, I do feel like
sorry, I was just gonna say, like, we have been touched by American imperialism so deeply. It runs through our blood. At
I mean,
this
it's
point.
definitely modern Korean history would
It's
not.
American history.
It's American history.
It is, and you can see parallels. And sometimes, like when I'm confused about a law, like I will look up what the law is in America because I know that it'll be the same here.
Pretty much.
Like we're so touched by it, and I think now we're at a point where, 60 years in, it's like, who are we as an independent people? Like, who are we without Western capitalism? Who are we without these ideas that have not only ideas but policies, practices?
You know what? I think Korea just needs to come up with a really fucking dope app, and then we'll fucking
an app that works.
An app that
One
works.
app that works.
But it has to be
Korean app that
it has to be the app. Which brings us to the next topic. Fucking China made TikTok, and that shit took over the fucking world. And speaking of TikTok, Andy is an influencer on TikTok. You have like fucking 110K or whatever.
What?
That's insane. Yeah.
Andy, are you serious? I'm not on TikTok.
You didn't know?
I'm not.
I'm not on TikTok either. Even I knew that.
But I knew he was on TikTok like that. But
could you like share with our listeners though, kind of, first of all, what's your handle on TikTok and what's like your sort of branding on the app?
It's just the opposite of my Instagram, so it's Trust Andy on TikTok.
Okay, gotcha.
Man, how do I? So I'll before we get into TikTok, we can maybe rewind a little bit. Mm-hmm. I guess I'll start with like a super like Cliff Notes version of like the past 8 years of my career. Which my first like big boy office job was to work at an advertising agency in New York City. And I started as like an intern PA and slowly worked my way up into becoming an art director and a creative director. And when I joined the company, it was like 50 people. By the time I left, it was like around 500 people. And
Holy fuck.
As a 20-some-year-old, it was like an incredible learning experience. Mm-hmm. During the time I was at the agency, they had also launched their own like internal media company. And so I got to be super hands-on in that process. And so from there, I ended up doing a lot of consulting work afterwards, doing like social media consulting, which was honestly the cushiest job of my life because I would go into meetings and get paid to tell people, you guys should do Instagram stories. And they would give me money for that.
You should do it.
Yeah, it was amazing. I would just walk into these rooms of people who had never even heard of Snapchat and be like, have you guys heard of Snapchat? And they're like, what's that? Like, give me some money and I'll tell you all about it.
Hand me a phone.
So I did that for a little bit. And then it was towards the end of 2017. I think it was 2017 or 18. I'm getting some of the dates confused, but I started a production company with my friend who used to actually work at Snapchat. And we started a company. And at the time, the initial kind of value proposition of what we were trying to do was, can we roll all of the offerings of a traditional like social media agency, roll that all up into this like really lean form factor. And instead of working with like a big brand like Nike, can we work directly with talent, individual talent that we believe in? So while at the agency, I might be working with Nike basketball and we're art directing a major campaign with like hundreds of touch points across every single social media platform, different influencers that are like part of this marketing campaign, billboards, Twitter, like just like so many different touch points. Can we instead just work with like Giannis Antetokounmpo, like the guy. Instead of working with all these different companies, can we work with like the guy?
Yeah.
So my partner, he was the former head of sports at Snapchat. So he had a lot of really like incredible connections in the athletic world. And our first client was Serena Williams.
Oh shit.
That's a crazy first client.
Yeah, it was from 2018.
Ever heard of her?
Yeah.
Fucking goat.
Yeah, no, the greatest of all time.
For women's tennis.
I mean, for
Not for
tennis.
men.
I just had to clarify. She's not the greatest of all time for tennis. I'm sure.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, some people would argue.
It is very.
Who would argue?
Serena Williams is
There are definitely people
Venus
who
and
would argue.
Serena.
I'll say this.
I'm kidding.
Serena Williams' record in terms of the number of championships is unmatched by any other
Yeah.
athlete in any sport.
Yeah.
Like Serena
think I
is
knew that.
arguably.
I'm not going to continue this bit. Yeah. I'm not going to
like
continue.
the
Yeah,
most
yeah.
winningest athlete of all time.
Sure,
so
sure,
like,
yeah.
there's an argument for
No,
that.
no, totally.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so the initial like kind of proposition was like, hey, you know, you work with all these different agencies. People are sending you content to post here and there. You're showing up in different commercials. Like, what about your own personal brand? Like, you're like you have so many different like entities that you run and manage, but also just like Serena Williams trademark, like the Serena Williams brand. Like, what? Who's managing that? So, for like 2 years, I was directing, producing, and managing Serena Williams' personal Instagram, her Twitter, and just like producing content for her. So I was like shooting stuff for her. At the time, they had this thing called IGTV, which is now just Reels.
Right, right.
But we were, you know,
IGTV, wow.
yeah, crazy. What a time. But like we were producing like content for her as an individual client. And so I was traveling with her, had an incredible experience producing all this content. But eventually, like you kind of run into the same kind of like road bumps as anyone who's a high profile brand or client, which is like she works with hundreds of different brands. So instead of me kind of having this like autonomy of like posting and producing stuff for her whenever we wanted to do,
Now you're negotiating with other brands.
now I'm like, wait, we can't post this IGTV post today because
Right.
Nike and Lincoln and all these other brands also have to go up today, and we can't
Yeah.
self-compete and
right,
self-sabotage.
right,
So
right.
at the time, her first daughter, Olympia, was like, I think, like 2 years old, something like that. She was a baby. But she had this little toy doll that she carried around with her everywhere.
Interesting. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
This is like a doll that they just bought at like Walmart or something. $15 doll, but it was important for Serena to get her daughter this specific doll because it was a black doll. And every time like Serena was holding Olympia, this doll, which was called Quay Quay, would just be there. Anytime that, you know, you're at a match, you would see Olympia and her husband holding this doll. It was just always would just make a cameo like in the background.
Yeah, I see.
And every time it would pop up,
You're like, we're losing potential money
Well,
because
well,
we're
so, like-
advertising for this doll
no,
company.
well, there's that, but also like Serena's fans were like going wild over this random
Like, what's
doll.
Yeah.
this doll?
They're just always commenting about it,
Yeah.
and they had kind of already started to create
yeah.
their own little lore around this little character. So while we're producing all this like glossy content for Serena's, you know, personal page, that's kind of getting backed up now, and like there's all this like bureaucratic shit we have to go through. I asked her, I'm like, what if we just made a Instagram account for Quay Quay, the doll itself? And at first, they're, you know, her and her husband Alexis kind of like laughed at the idea because what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah.
account for this doll.
Yeah.
But what started off as just like a bunch of pictures of literally me like taking like iPhone pictures of this doll and writing random captions eventually snowballed. And this, I think now Quay Quay's TikTok has like 4 million
Yeah.
followers
That's
or
what's
something.
still going.
It's still going.
That's crazy.
But
Crazy.
But
it's,
she also started her own. Didn't she also start her own brand? Though?
yeah, so like
right.
it's like Serena Williams has her own clothing brand, which
Clothing brand,
I also
yeah.
was working on, and like there's a lot of different touch points on like her extended brand,
Right. But like that was a brilliant idea, right? To be
Yeah.
like, hey, let's take this doll that clearly is symbolic of something. I mean, we all took AP psychology. We all know the doll experiments. Like the fact that didn't happen earlier is astounding to me, to be honest. But maybe it took an
Yeah.
athlete like Serena Williams to put that idea on the
Right.
map. But it's such a genius idea.
And a social media consultant.
And it's exactly a brilliant consultant to make
Yeah.
it happen. Exactly.
The idea was like, look, when you can create your own intellectual property in the form of this like abstracted image of a doll, which eventually we ended up working with a toy manufacturer and like we made our own doll.
right. I think I read about that. Yeah.
We developed a whole like we built out a whole animation team, and now like there's not only like the physical doll, but we have like a short animation series. There's a children's book that like it just became this
became
like
an
Every
industry,
vertical
yeah.
you can tap into.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
run
it
with
was
it.
basically like, can you essentially create like a mascot, like a Hello Kitty,
Yes.
for a person?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so through that like kind of like launched us into like conversations with a whole bunch of like musicians and athletes and other people that were curious about creating this thing. So we worked with like Carly Kloss. We pitched stuff to like a lot of like Scooter Braun and like all of his artists. Like it became a very high octane, crazy year or 2 years of just a lot of traveling, a lot of working with these very high visibility, high profile clients. And basically it all culminated to, it was like the end of 2019, like December. This was my very first startup experience. It was also like that year, as I'm like starting this company, that like I mentioned earlier, like I started going to therapy and I got diagnosed with like bipolar disorder. It was like a huge like mental health, like self-awareness moment for me.
Right.
So like it all culminated in this like, okay, I'm about to like have an intense burnout. So 2019, I decided to take sabbatical and unplug for a little bit. And
But were you keeping up with your personal? Wait,
Also,
TikTok
no.
didn't even exist back then, right? Or did it?
It did. It
I
did.
think he's. I think he's getting there. He's getting there. I mean, he did say
gonna
it
say,
was
were
a
you creating
footnotes version.
content?
We just read a Charles Dickens novel.
Let me speed this up.
Like, where did the personal
Yeah, so-
content creation come into?
So
play?
like we get into 2020. I'm on sabbatical. COVID hits.
COVID, yep.
And at this time, I am like doing a lot of self-reflection on like what the fuck do I want to do with my life? Decide to step away from the company. But actually, both me and my co-founder also went off to go do his own thing. So now-
Ayahuasca. Yeah. I hear you, brother.
But so now the company is in different hands. It's still
still going.
continuing on the mission, but
Oh,
it's,
that's
it's,
amazing.
it's a different team.
Yeah.
But basically, over COVID, I'm sitting at home, and after all this time, I had I think during that time there was like not a single picture of myself on Instagram.
Oh, interesting.
I had done so much work on social
You
media.
were hiding that gorgeous face from the world this entire time.
But I mean, I spent all this time like working behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
working with brands, with other clients. And at that point, I felt like, man, I think I have a pretty good grasp on how to like do this social media thing. At least for other people, I think I figured out how to do social media for people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what it was at that point. I felt very like self-conscious
Mm-hmm.
about getting in front of the camera. And so,
Were you a fat kid growing up?
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I
Well,
was-
then there's your answer.
yeah, there you go.
That's why.
To this day, like there are still like deep
Yeah,
insecurities.
you were a little
that I'm-
fat
yeah.
boy. Yeah. Oh, now I get it. Now
So
I get
like, man, like 2020 comes around. I'm like, look, actually, like speaking of like when I was in college, I was not only like a chubby kid, but also like just deeply afraid of like just talking to people.
Oh, interesting.
I did not know how to. I was so awkward, so
okay.
socially awkward.
Okay, okay.
So like I decided like as soon as I got to college, I started working at a coffee shop on campus. Just as like sheer like exposure therapy.
Did it work?
Like this will force me to interact with like
You have
other
to,
classmates.
yeah.
And I just either I'm going to sit there and die being this weirdo, awkward kid who doesn't know how to like take someone's order, or I'm just gonna have to learn. And I feel like that was probably the most like transformative thing I did like when I was like 19 years old. But
So then you
like,
go in
starting
front of a
TikTok
camera.
was
yeah.
like the same thing. Was like, okay, I feel like I am so awkward in front of a camera. I don't like how I look, but this will be the way that I'm just gonna force myself.
Interesting.
What was also great about that was like in 2020, I mean, even now, like I have a lot of friends who, I mean, we're all like connected on Instagram, but like I don't think any of you guys are on TikTok,
No.
right?
No, not
Actively,
really.
right? That was what was so like liberating about
Oh,
TikTok.
because no one was watching you.
No one was there. No one that I knew
hell yeah.
knew me.
Yeah.
It was strangers.
So I can.
I
go
mean,
on-
I'm sure one person out there was like, "Wait a minute, is that Fat Andy?"
What fucked me up is that you can sync your contacts, which I think I did by accident. And so like random people would hit me up, but like
Message
that was
you.
beside the point. The
Yeah.
point is like when I first got on TikTok, no one knew who I was, and I think like
Yeah.
I had just gotten my cat. I was sitting in this tiny little studio apartment in New York City.
So this was in quarantine.
This is quarantine. And so like I'm just kind of documenting my life,
Mm-hmm.
like experiencing life during quarantine in New York City. And I lived at the time in Nolita, which is like sandwiched right between Chinatown, Soho. I'm just documenting my life.
Mm-hmm.
And within the first 2 weeks of me posting like a video, it went from 0 followers to 20,000 followers.
Wait, what?
And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, so what do you think it was? Because obviously no
It
one.
was his face.
No. Oh, okay, so
his handsome ass
here's the
face.
thing.
and if anyone went on TikTok and made content like that, they would not get 20,000 followers in 2 weeks.
But not everyone looks like Andy.
right? So was it that? Was it the fact that you were like,
Bro, I've seen some of the things he posted. I was like, bro, you look so like you look so
no, so
gorgeous,
be honest,
bro.
is it like the fact that you were like this cool, like cute Korean guy? Do you know what I
I think
mean?
a big part of it,
I will
yeah.
say, I say this just
The secret.
salute to all my fellow Korean American men out there. I don't know. That's okay. The point is this. Look,
There are three. At
Salute
this
us, brother.
as a Korean dude living in New York City at the time, I don't think I've ever felt like superficially my like the status, like the stock value of being a Korean American person who, I don't know, like I had a tattoo was like boom, like you're immediately skyrocketed into this like upper echelon of like, yeah, people want this content.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because the
Oh my
thirst
god,
for
yeah.
Korean
Why do you
shit-
think fucking A-Lam got all those tattoos all of a sudden? It's because he wanted to be fucking.
whole shit.
Anyway, so that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is just like, man, like I had a super cute cat. I'm living in New York City. Like I'm hitting like all the points of like,
Oh, that's so interesting. So
Yeah.
it's like playing up these individual like
and it's like,
things about you.
and I think like, here, I think in order to succeed on social media, there are very, very, very broadly speaking, there's kind of these two paths, and then I think ultimately, the ultimate path is like right down the middle. But one path is this: either you're just like a internet kid, like you know how to do the trends, you know how to
Like all the dances.
you
and
know how to
whatever, yeah.
optimize your page, you know how to like thirst trap, you know all just the gimmicks of
Okay.
making Instagram, TikTok work for you.
I'm
Right?
writing it down. I'm writing thirst.
Right. So there's that, right? The other side is like you just have an incredible story to tell. And that's where like celebrities fall into that category. Like literally like I don't know, LeBron James can open up a brand new TikTok account tomorrow, and because he's LeBron James.
No, I follow him because he's so fucking hot.
Well, there's that too. He's undeniably very
Okay,
handsome.
Sals, calm
Kidding, I do
down.
not even follow
If,
LeBron.
if you have a story to
fucking
tell,
hot.
right? If you have an incredible story, you can just get on there and like say something.
Yeah.
Like, which
But
is
it's also like he's LeBron James.
totally.
Right?
So like
yeah.
another example is like, I don't know, every once in a while you'll hear these like crazy stories of like,
Yes.
like recently like a lady just got signed to WME because she had like a 50-part TikTok story about like my crazy husband, and like she had this like crazy story to tell, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a
Yeah.
super, and she got signed to like I think WME or CAA just because she had this insane 50-part story to tell. And it wasn't that her videos were like optimized or it was using the
Right.
best practices. She just had an incredible story to tell.
She
right?
like orated her screenplay.
Yeah, it was incredible,
Yeah,
right?
and they-
so like
yeah, I
you
got
have on one side like, are you really good at social media? That's one way to pop.
Yeah.
Like that's where I think Mr. Beast falls in.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
he
yeah.
he figured out the algorithm, right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think he's a particularly charismatic person,
Dude, he's boring as fuck.
but like he knows how to play the game,
Yeah.
right? On the other hand, you have incredible stories to tell. If you can somehow weave both sides,
Interesting.
if you can figure out the best parts of this, and if you have a compelling life story to tell,
yeah.
that's how I think you ultimately like win at the highest level.
Yeah.
So I think I was like taking whatever I can talk about from like, like for the last 2 years, I like went to every Grand Slam as like Serena's personal photographer, or like I'm a Korean dude living in New York City. And for some people, that is
with a
enough.
cat.
That's
Yeah, with a
enough.
cat.
Oh, you're a
Yeah.
Korean American
Yeah.
dude living in New York City who worked in a creative profession and you got a cute cat. That's the story. That's enough for some
Yeah. Or like you talking about your mental health.
people. Yeah.
But
If you can talk about like, oh, I got diagnosed with this, and you can
Yeah.
talk about it in a coherent way.
Yeah.
And also like you're not shooting this on like a fucking iPhone 2.
Okay.
Right? It's like you shot it with decent lighting and it's like you
Yeah.
add the subtitle. If you can do just the bare minimum,
Yeah.
that's a winning formula, I think. So basically, that's how it started. It went from like 0 to 20,000 followers. And then here's the other like sauce is that you just have to be consistent, which I think that
Yes.
was my hardest part was like, at first, like I got this kind of uptick in followers and it was horrifying. I went from being this no-face guy on Instagram, like feeling super awkward about showing like posting my face on IG stories in 2020 felt like exposure therapy.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden, like 20,000 people follow me. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So I think for like 6 months, I didn't even like open the app after that. I like completely fell off. And then fast forward, my apartment floods.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That was a big
which
one.
That became a huge catalyst for why I ended up
That's-
leaving New
yeah.
York City and ended up coming to Korea. But
Crazy story.
documented that process, and boom, now I'm at like 80,000 followers because
Right.
people want to see
If
this.
you guys want to see that content, by the way, open up
Roll
TikTok.
through. Yeah.
Go to Trust Andy, and you'll see a series of videos where, like, bro, your apartment was fucked.
Fuck landlords
Was
too,
fucked.
just by the way, just as
Yeah.
a general blanket statement. Anyways, and then the next kind of big uptick was after I ended up leaving New York, coming to Korea for the very first time, which actually that's when I first saw you again, like after all these years. I came to Korea, I think it was October of 2021. And at that point, the mandatory quarantine was like reduced to 10 days. But I was the lodging I was in Yongin. I was literally right across from Everland, which is crazy because like Everland was open at the time.
Yeah. Everything was open.
Yeah,
This kind of fucked me up because like
Yeah.
I'm sitting in this hotel room and my window's facing Everland. And every single night I see fireworks and I can hear people
hilarious.
screaming on the roller coasters. And I'm
That's
just like,
actually hilarious.
and I feel like fucking the dude from Old Boy. I'm just like in my hotel room and I'm
Yeah.
Eating dumplings.
crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so for those 10 days, I am just like documenting my descent into fucking madness.
And that got you followers.
Boom.
like
And that
another-
like
yeah.
skyrocketed me again.
Dude, so Andy showed me the content a few weeks ago, and it was just him not even talking.
Oh, yeah.
Just like listen to a song.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, bro, you look really good in these videos, man.
No, but one of the videos I posted that like blew up was me. This is at the end of 2021. So like at that point, peak like the first like COVID moment was almost a year and a half ago, right? It was in recent memory. So I'm now at the end of 2021 posting me just sitting there in a room listening to TikTok sounds, that trending songs that were popular
yeah,
in
during
March
COVID.
of 2020.
Oh my God.
And the caption was like listening to 2020 songs or 2020 sounds to feel something or feel an emotion or something like that, right? The first video I posted got like 7 million views.
That's insane.
The fact
But
that
also-
7 million people know what you look like is fucked up.
But like that video got me an interview with Vice magazine.
What?
Like random, like it was just like it spiraled into this weird thing of like,
yeah. You got big,
like the
bro.
mental health of crisis of people
Yeah.
on TikTok, and they're over here
Yeah.
like being nostalgic about the worst part of it. It became
Yeah.
this weird like discourse,
That's
right?
just-
sure.
Yeah, discourse.
So I'm like, okay. Anyways, like I wrote that little series till like Park fucking 42 or whatever till
what?
I got bored of it. But yeah, that was in a nutshell my
I mean,
little
so
TikTok
you've been
experience.
super consistent, making this content for years now.
So it's been
Like
years.
even the fact that you did part 42 or whatever
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
video, that's the consistency.
I'll say this: I had sprints, which I think the best way that you win is to truly like if you can be on a cadence of like some of my most favorite followers or creators, like even on YouTube, are people that like maybe post like 4 times a year.
Oh, but then they'll do it
They
in
post
bursts.
like every 3 months, and it's like
Yeah.
there's a consistency to it. I went from like these like sprints and then breaks and sprints. So like my page has grown, but I think most recently when I check, like it's been actually going down because I haven't posted in like 3 months or something. So to me, like if you're able to keep it up and like maintain consistency over a long period of time, like that's the winningest strategy. But to that point, I mean, I don't know, like, hold on. Do you want to break the news on the 200 followers?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard, but we have hit 200 followers.
Oh my God,
That's
that is news to me.
And so we're trying to like ride the, I mean, obviously, bro, the entire time you were talking about like making content, getting followers. Like I know what you're talking about, man. We talk the same lingo. But now that we have all these eyes on us, I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah, exactly.
Natural. I totally get it.
But we are like, I don't know. Jay and
what
I
are you
used to
gonna do
joke all the
next?
time. We were at 199 for so fucking long. And then it dropped down to 197, 196. Like we lost followers.
Like,
and now we're back
motherfucker.
at 200. So it's like, oh yeah, we hit like a goal.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Rather embarrassingly, our goal was to hit 1,000 followers after 1 year of doing this podcast. We're on our 3rd year. But that's where your expertise comes in, by the way, Andy.
So, okay, I want to share. This is just pulled straight from a YouTube video that I watched, and it's from one of my favorite creators. His name is Marquise Brownlee.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
love Mark.
which
Oh,
most-
dude.
If you have watched
MKGHB.
MKBHD,
Dude, he's the best.
if you've watched a tech video on Instagram or on YouTube, you've probably
he's the best.
seen his content. If you've ever watched a phone review, if you've ever watched any tech content, it's probably come up. I think I started following him because he's just like a very fascinating individual. So he runs like the biggest tech channel on YouTube. He's I think he's a professional ultimate frisbee player.
Ultimate, yeah.
And just like he's just like a very fascinating individual.
And he also just seems like a legitimately like chill dude.
Yeah. And just like super smart. Like just everything about the way he produces content is super intelligent and like love it. There's a video that he made, I think it was when he hit 4 million subscribers, which at this point was years ago. I think he hit that milestone.
Yeah,
like,
he's huge
like
on now.
8, 9, 10 years ago. But there's something that he said in that video that has always stuck with me because I believe when he made that video, the 4 million subscriber celebration video, that was his 200th video on the channel. There's a lot of videos.
It is, yeah.
Producing 200 YouTube videos is no joke. And, that's what it takes to get to 4 million followers. However, he also says that if you were to go back to his channel, at the time that he had uploaded 100 videos, guess how many subscribers he had?
Maybe
So
10,
at
20,000?
At 200 videos, he hit 4 million.
Yeah.
At half of that, where do you think he was?
I don't know. 100,000. 100,000.
Yeah.
75.
75,
75.
not thousands.
75.
75 followers.
75.
When he had
Holy
100
shit.
videos?
So he had 100 videos uploaded to his channel.
Yeah.
He had 75 subscribers. And
Oh,
he
wow.
kept going.
We're so ahead of him right
Yeah,
now.
we
Because
are.
we're at like 93 episodes and we have 200.
We're coming
be
for
at
you,
4
fucking
million
Marquise
in
Brownlee.
200
so think about it. Like,
That is inspiring to hear.
to me, like, you know that meme of like the diamond miner?
Which one is that?
It's like,
Like he's so close to hitting it, right?
yeah, like
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the image is like you see the guy who's like mining for diamonds, and it's like right before he hits gold.
Yeah, and he gives up.
He walks,
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, like, man. So there's 2 ways to kind of see this this kind of scenario. On one hand, you have the never quit attitude, which I remember. I forget who. I think it was actually Seth Rogen. Someone like, he said this like in an interview. He's like he doesn't. I think it was him. He says something to the effect of like, I have no idea what the secret to success is. I have no idea how, what the formula to winning is. But what I do know is that amongst all the people that have succeeded, amongst all the people who have won, amongst all the people who have done the thing, the one common through line, the only through line, the only common thing that exists amongst all people who have succeeded is that they just did not give up. That's the only thing, right? On the same side, right? On the same side.
Jay, we are so close to giving up.
right?
We needed this right now.
Aaron gave me the biggest eye roll.
I was like, bro, we gave up. We gave up 5 episodes ago.
The only thing is that they just didn't give up. That's the one thing, right? On the flip side, I think that like this idea of the sunk cost fallacy, which like just because you have done it, you will keep doing it.
Yeah.
You keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like it's all about like how do you frame this in your head, right? Because like to me, like I went to college and I was originally like a pre-med student. If I told myself just never give up, I might be still taking the MCAT right now, desperately trying to find fulfillment in this thing that I would never find happiness in.
Yeah.
It took, and for me, like it's part of my personality to like it. I'm not really good at walking away from things, and sometimes it takes like a catastrophic event to like eject me from an environment, which is like
He failed Orgo,
no,
everyone.
I mean like no, straight up like I got a 30% on my chemistry midterm, and I like looked at myself and I'm like,
I'm not going to be a doctor.
I need to get the fuck out of here before like I
People will
fall off the deep
die.
end.
Yeah.
That's the same reason why I like left New York, because my apartment flooded. And I'm like, I just have to get the fuck out of here.
I see.
Yeah, I see.
So like for me, like it sometimes takes someone to like fucking like shake me by the shoulders and be like, you need to leave. But I also believe like the only common thing that exists amongst all people who have done the thing that they set out to do is that they just never gave up. So
Right.
I'm confused by the message
No,
because
the
it kind of sounds like
it's
you
like,
should give up.
No, here's what I believe.
Wait, no, I was taking it as a don't give up.
No,
No, you don't. Okay, no.
Just give up. You don't matter.
yeah,
Just give up.
What I don't want to do, what I sometimes like, because the message of like just don't give up in the most basic way, I think can become this like building block of like something I fucking hate on, especially on social media, is like hustle content. I fucking hate hustle content. This whole like just fucking like nut up and pull yourself up by the bootstrap. You just gotta grind. Like that to me
That
is
era
like
has
the most
passed.
garbage type of shit that you can like spew on the internet. And so like I also understand like there are people out there who are literally quitting their 9-to-5 jobs to chase this like Instagram fame clout dream, and it's like you got sold this like fake dream,
Right, yeah.
and
Yeah.
you completely got lost in the sauce. And it's really important to like have people in your corner to like bring some fucking perspective to like keep you accountable, and like it can also very
to
quickly
well-
devolve into like a terrible poison.
Well, I think think that like confidence is so important for success, but overconfidence is like probably like the worst thing that could for the average layman who like has delusions of
But okay, but
success.
to that point, like okay, I love the framework of the uncanny valley, but I also love the Dunning-Kruger effect, which I don't know,
Sure, yeah.
To me, the
There's just
Dunning-Kruger
fail upwards, or
right?
like confidence will always lead to.
Dunning-Kruger effect is super interesting. Like when you don't know anything, like say like have you ever skydived before?
No.
Okay, so if I told you tomorrow we're gonna go skydiving and you're gonna go skydiving alone,
Okay.
like how confident would you feel? Probably zero.
Yeah.
Anyone with a sane mind who has never skydived
Yeah.
should feel 0% confident,
Yeah.
right? But I've been skydiving before with tandem, like someone like right. There is like this goofy, like very
You think you
stupid
can take
ego,
someone's
right? Where it's like gun to my head. Do you think like if you got kicked out of a plane with a parachute, do you think you could survive? There's a part of me that's
yeah.
like, just because I've skydived once before and the guy kind of let me
Absolutely.
There's a part of me that's like, okay,
But the Dunning-Kruger effect would be more so like I think I could take you skydiving. I feel like that's what it's used
like
to
when
exemplify.
it's like when you know nothing, your confidence is zero, right? But when you know a little
Even
bit,
something.
Yeah.
your
then-
confidence skyrockets.
Oh yeah, it's
And
like how
then-
people like to talk about things that they
don't know, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
but
you
when
make
you-
money on Bitcoin. You're a financier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as soon as you know enough, your confidence gets back
Yes,
down because
exactly.
you know how much you don't know.
Okay,
right?
so
right,
like
right,
that,
yeah.
So it's
and
like
imposter syndrome.
it go
and all
up, down, and then slowly over time, as you increase your expertise, it goes up,
that.
right?
Yeah.
But it's oftentimes
makes
presented as this like the loudest person in the room is usually the dumbest
Yeah,
person, which
yeah.
that's also true. But I also think that the Dunning-Kruger effect is really important because when you're starting out anything, you don't know shit,
Yeah.
right? And if you knew how hard anything was,
Then you would
never start it.
Yeah.
The second that you try something and you get a taste for it and you realize, oh, it's kind of interesting, and you know a little bit, your confidence will go out the roof. And you will think that, like, aha, like, I can totally do this. You may or may not be able to do it, but you actually I think you need to go through that phase. You need to go through this phase of, like, brazen, stupid self-confidence that's completely based in nothing other than ego. Otherwise, you'll never start. Right. So it's like you kind of have to go through this crazy moment of like.
Well, you know, it's funny. So, like, Cells was one of the first people to join the podcast, and then she infamously dipped a year and a half ago. And then Jay and I have held down the fort for the remainder of that time. We've definitely gone through our ups and downs. Our output has been pretty inconsistent.
I mean, you have a lot of
It's
episodes,
like
though.
inconsistently consistent.
Right. I mean, we still do it. But, like, trust me, man, there are times where I'm like, I'm not trying to fucking do this shit anymore. I'm sure Jay feels the same way. But you know what? Maybe we're going to jump out of the airplane.
Let's go. Yeah, there you go.
Well, maybe we need Andy on more episodes then.
You know
I
what?
have
Yeah.
new inspiration.
Man.
I have this.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful.
For whatever it's worth, like, I do think that, okay, do you guys remember, like, 2014 where, like, Instagram went from, like, the in-app filters where everyone's, like, deep frying their fucking food
Oh my
pictures
God, that
to,
was the
like,
worst.
all of a sudden there's, like, IG
Hashtag
celebrities.
no
Like, it
filter.
became, like, people start to become, like influencers, right?
Yeah.
If I were to tell you, like, hey, we can go back to 2014, would you guys take Instagram seriously? Yeah, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Here's an opportunity to, like, take this platform that's going to be fucking huge seriously. But I could go as early as, like, 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
Hey, would you go back? If we can go back to
Yeah,
2020, would you
yeah.
take Instagram seriously? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this platform is not going anywhere. It's still growing, right? So, like, this whole hype train of, like, seeing Korean American content, seeing just interesting people living in Korea talking about their, like, this right here. If you guys made this podcast 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, who knows where it could be right now? But now, I don't, like, we have to kind of, like, zoom out 30,000 feet in there. 5 years from now, you guys could be having the same conversation. It's like, man, what
Yeah,
if we,
I
what if
think
we
about that
started
all the time.
in 2024? So think about how far.
Yeah.
And, like, right now,
I think about that with anything. Truly.
Yeah,
it's
me
like if you
too.
started anything,
the best
2
time to
years
start
ago,
is now, and you guys
is
already
now,
have.
I mean, we've
Yeah.
done.
Leg up.
No, I agree
look,
with
we've
that.
put in the work.
Yeah.
We've put in the work, and
absolutely
I think
have.
really the missing part of the equation for us, Jay and Celine, is that we don't trust the process, and that's why we have our good friend Andy
Dot
Trust on the
connector.
podcast.
Amazing
shit.
segue.
And with
God.
that said, thank you guys so much for tuning to this episode of the Side Dish Podcast. Catch us on Instagram at _the Side Dish. Follow us on TikTok if we open one at probably _the Side Dish.
Coming
and,
soon.
And with that said, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.